Hey everybody, this is Cameron from Obnoxious and Anonymous, and welcome to the Twin Peaks Thought of the Day for Sunday, October 29th, 2017. My guests today are Alice Lynch, coming to us just via audio today. How are you, Alice?
Hello, cherry pies.
It's great to have you here. It's been a while since you've been on. I don't think you've been on since the airing of the finale.
That's right.
And how has life been for you post season 3 or post this limited event series, as it's now referred to as?
Well, like I said in your last podcast and the one before, I'm still not ready for season 3, and that's a fact. I won't say all of it. What is on my mind right now for the past few weeks, but I will put it that way in one word: traumatized.
How so?
Well, yeah.
Well, that pretty much explains it.
Yeah, I feel quite traumatized after the season. It was so dark. Even with the funny and happy moments, it still was very, very dark and sad. And I feel traumatized.
Well, also joining us today, she's making her big screen debut, if you will. This is a woman who you have probably seen on a number of Twin Peaks posts. She's huge in the community, but she has never been on one of these video podcasts. So I wanted to invite her on, and that is Emilie Declerck, right? From Belgium. Am I saying that correct? Or did I completely mistake your name?
No, it's good. It's good. It's good. I love the way the Americans say my name, so it's good. Emilie.
And what is your cat's name?
Shizo. He knows something's going on, so he wants attention. I'm sorry.
So before we get into any other discussion, let people know a little bit about who you are, how you came to find Twin Peaks, and sort of your involvement in the community. I mean, you're at the UK festivals. You know a lot of the people involved. So yeah, just give us a brief overview of who you are and how you came to the show and the community.
Well, I live in Belgium. I'm 36, and I've been a Twin Peaks fan since I was 11, something like that when it aired. I was really small. I couldn't watch from my mom because it was too scary, but she taped the show, and I secretly watched when they were away. So, and I think 1 year later, I was older, and I watched the whole show. And since then, I became obsessive. In Belgium, I knew no one who knew the show. So it was really very lonely. It was a really lonely fan. Even David Lynch, I couldn't talk to no one and stuff like that. But the internet changed everything. And since then, I've been around in the community for a very long time. And I remember in 2007, I put on Facebook just to see everything about Twin Peaks. And year after year, I got to know more people. And in 2009, I went with my Norwegian best friend to Snoqualmie. And then I got to know a lot of people. And in 2010, I went to the OK Festival. And so you make the best friends in the world, I guess. And so I got to know a lot of people, and I made a lot of connections and contacts to other people. And yeah.
When you went to Snoqualmie, was that for the US festival, or did you just go just to go?
We went to the US festival, but we really went to see the places. My best friend from Norway, Vidar, his family lives there, 1 hour drive from Snoqualmie. So we had a place to stay for free, and we rented a car. So it was a super opportunity to go. I will always be grateful for him and the family that we could do this. But we went to the festival, but I actually just wanted to see the area, of course. So the festival was just the combination. And I never met a Twin Peaks cast before then, so it was the first time. And the first person I saw was Kimmy, so I started. I was really emotional. But it was a very small festival. 2009 was the smallest, I heard. It was like a break. We didn't know, but well, we don't care. It was overwhelming enough for me, and so it was perfect. It was a small year, and yeah, but the festival was super great. Yeah, and I'm very happy that I went. Otherwise, I would never know everyone that I do now, and made all the connections that I did. But everything came naturally. Everybody is. I love the Twin Peaks community very much. Yeah.
And what was your reaction to seeing these places for real? You know, obviously the hotel and the diner and Laura's house and all the other places. I mean, it kind of is sort of like a spiritual experience, isn't it?
Yeah, yes. I'm not just a fan, you know. We're like everyone else, just really obsessive behavior. My mom calls it. So when I saw the falls for the first time, it's just I don't know, like when you're religious and you go to church, I think something like that.
Well, it very much is that, because it's not just like, oh, you know, there's this over here and this over there. It's almost like you're in the show when you're at these locations, because you pull up to the stop sign and there's the diner right there in the corner, just like it is in the show. When you're at the falls, there's the hotel right there as well. When you're there at night and you see the spotlight on the hotel and the waterfall, it's the exact shot that is in the show, with the exact lighting that is in the show. And so you feel like you're not just there at a location. It feels like you've now crossed over into the show.
Yeah. It really surprised me that everything was so like the show. Nothing changed much. The diner inside was totally different. I would like to go now, but the falls for me was everything. It was, my heart stopped when I was at the spot, and I thought that was the best thing. And also Ranette's Bridge was fantastic. But the only sad thing is, and I know now, and I want to go back, is that it was in the summer and it was super warm. It was 30 degrees at least, and I don't like the heat. So the falls, it was like this. It was super bright. So I missed the Twin Peaks atmosphere. So I really want to go to the fest again, but I don't want to go in the summer anymore. I want to go in the fall or in the spring when it's a little the moody sound, the moody atmosphere, and yeah, you know what I mean. It was too bright. My camera, I don't like the pictures I took because it was very bright. So, but it was. I'm super happy that I could go, and I hope to go back someday. Yeah.
Alice, are you planning a trip out there anytime, or have you been out there before?
No, I haven't. I would love to, but it's hard to do it on your own. And yeah, well, hello to my story over there in the neighborhood in Belgium. Emilie, I'm totally with you. I went almost through the same journey here in Germany, and I still don't know not a single person who is all over Twin Peaks here. Not single one. There is a bunch of people whom I introduced to Twin Peaks over the past 20 years, but they were just, short-time fans, and that's it. Most of the people didn't get and still don't get the story of Twin Peaks, but it's fine, it's not for everybody. But yes, I would love to visit those places and festivals. but like I said, it's quite impossible when you're on your own as a woman. So I don't think I will. Although recently I read about another German festival which will take place next year. I don't know where exactly, but it's very possible that it's gonna be just like for the past 15 years, a German community has been doing these festivals, but it's more or less like a group from the internet, like 15, 16 people are meeting somewhere where it's not even possible to get there unless you have a car, which I don't. So again, it's not possible. You know, I don't know why they always look for some strange places. It doesn't make any sense to me. But yeah, it is what it is, and I don't know. Maybe one day we all gonna meet some same place and go all together. Who knows?
But
Just an idea.
you have to travel for this. I've been to London, I think 5 times to the UK festival, and 1 time to the US, and Twin Peaks little things. So you have to travel. Everybody's like, wow, you met so many guests, and wow, and you know so many people who said, I traveled a lot for it.
Yeah.
But where are you from in Germany? What area?
Right now, I'm in Hamburg.
Hamburg. Yeah. Let me check.
Yeah.
So you're not so far apart.
No.
And that you
Like
meet
I said.
people, you meet everyone there. Everyone is super. We are all the same. We're like a family. So if you go to these events, they will take you in. Everybody will make friends, and maybe you could travel to the States then to find some.
Yeah, I understand. I'm aware of it. You know, just the problem is just to go there in the first place. I visited the very first Comic Con in Germany, and I was promoting it. It's been 2 years ago, something like December 2 years ago. And still, I have been the only one cheering up for Twin Peaks and Z Nation, the only person over there. So, you know, it's so weird. I hear all the time people in Germany and around Germany. There are many of those Twin Peaks fans or so-called fans, but in reality, you never meet them in real life. So this is so strange. You know, I've been sitting here on this podcast for a few months now, and I remember one German guy being on your podcast, Cameron, and that's it, and I'm still not in contact with him. I mean, I remember saying this on your chat. You know, get me in contact with this guy, and I don't know if he even exists.
I have a great friend from Germany, Mario. He's super fan, so I'll get you into contact with him.
Yeah, let's get in touch. Of course.
Well, I think one of the great things about this podcast too is you know, it's brought so many people from all over the world together.
Exactly.
When we've all felt isolated in our love at times for the show, and then to kind of all meet each other. It's kind of like what Emilie's saying, going to the UK festival. It's great to be around like-minded people. Yeah. That, you know, and that completely changes your outlook. You know, you realize you're not alone.
Yeah, I go to the UK festival, not really for the festival anymore. I just go to see my friends because I miss them. We have contact for the whole year round. We have contact online and Facebook, but if it wasn't for them, I don't think I would go. I love it. Of course I do, but because I want to be with them, and it's such a wonderful experience, and like seeing the guests, the actors is just a plus. It's just go for them. You know what I mean? So I hope if you come, you will make friends and stuff will happen.
Yeah. And Alice, people know you from your work online and your videos and being on the podcast and stuff. Believe me, they will welcome you. They
yes. If you're alone, people,
no.
You're alone at the festival.
Listen, the thing is, I have been working in music and movie industry for over 20 years. And I have met so many well-known musicians from Germany who always claimed being inspired by Twin Peaks. The thing is, I always had the chance, the great opportunity. Sometimes it wasn't that great, but I had the opportunity to look behind the curtains with so many artists and musicians. And you know what? There is nothing behind. Most of them, if not all of them, after a while, told me that they actually only know Fire Walk With Me and have never seen the show. And they claimed for years and decades, known musicians, they claimed for decades that they are inspired by Twin Peaks and they are the biggest fans. They are not. They are not.
Halting. I think it's these days it's super cool if you're a Twin Peaks fan. I think that's why.
Yeah, it's trendy. It's definitely trendy. Now, Emilie, just kind of moving on a little bit here. Emilie, Alice said that she looks back on this last season as being sort of a sad and traumatic thing. What is your reaction at this moment of the last 18 hours we have seen of this series? Whether people want to call it the return, season 3, the limited event series, as the box is now being called. Did you like it?
Of course, yes. I loved it. Yeah, it was a little. I don't know. I was kind of mesmerized the whole time. It was like this, and I thought about this question because I knew you were going to ask it. But as much as I loved the 3rd season, it could never, ever replace what season 1 and season 2 made me feel, if you know what I mean. But it's just because we grow up with that. You know, a lot of the episodes, I know all the lines. Me and my boyfriend, we geek out all day with some stuff. We phrase the Twin Peaks line. So, and for the new season, the new season, it will come, you know. But I really loved it. It was, for me, it was more also, it was everything. It was Eraserhead, Lost Highway, Inland Empire, Mulholland Drive. I saw a lot of other influences, but it was visually, it was art, you know.
I even saw a Straight Story reference in there as well. So.
Straight Story, you did.
Yeah, when Cooper wakes up and he shakes Bushnell's hand, says, you're a good man, and thank you for everything you've done. That's very much like the Straight Story when Alvin Straight stands up and shakes the guy's hand for letting him camp in his yard and being a good person. And, it's, I just love the fact that it was, people claimed, it wasn't like season 1 and 2. It was very different than season 1 and 2. And, there's a variety of reasons for that. But one of the things I liked about it was it continued the story of the characters, but it did not feel like it had to put it in the same sort of small town mystery context that the first 2 seasons had. It just kind of was like, okay, these are the characters 25 years later. I mean, yes, there was quite a bit that was, left to the imagination in terms of like Shelley and Bobby and all that. I mean, we got little glimpses of their lives, but I mean, the show was primarily focused around Cooper and that whole thing. But I love the fact how it expanded the whole universe. It made it, bigger than it was, right? Because obviously it should be. It shouldn't all just take place in Twin Peaks. It left sorry, there's a little bit of sound feedback. But it expanded it so big that I was fascinated by where it was taking us. But I thought it left, plenty open to explore in other ways, whether that's standalone movie on Showtime, another series down the line, a Mark Frost book. I don't know, but I think the frustrating part was that for a lot of people, it didn't answer a lot of things. But if you look back, it answered quite a bit in terms of where season 2 and Fire Walk with Me left off. Like, it answered a lot of that stuff. It just also brought up a ton of more stuff that it never answered, or it relied on you to kind of connect the dots yourself.
Yeah, I really love the references to Fire Walk with Me, because the show is everything to me, but Fire Walk with Me is even, I saw it 1,000 times, you know what I mean? So Fire Walk with Me is like, it's my favorite movie all time. So when he connected the Cooper into the scenes with Laura, I didn't know where I was at that time. It was something you saw like 1,000 times, the same scenes, and I know all the lines from Fire Walk with Me, all the Laura Palmer lines. And so seeing then Cooper is like, I was like this in front of the TV, and I started crying. My boyfriend watched me like, "Ooh, what is this?" We couldn't believe what we saw. So it was, I really loved that moment to bits. It was the preview, the episode 7.
Hello?
Oh.
I think she got kicked out. But now it says she's back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello?
I got kicked out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
Welcome back.
Yeah.
No, I'm right there with you. That whole flashback scene to Fire Walk with Me was amazing. What was great though was the fact that the black and white photography, putting Cheryl Lee back in that wig.
Yeah.
I mean, all of a sudden, I mean, it literally looked like they stepped back into Fire Walk with Me. And that was probably one of the best special effects they could have done for the whole series,
Oh, come on, Camera. Do you really believe this? I still don't believe. I think this is another actress.
No, it was
believe
Cheryl Lee.
No, it was Cheryl Lee.
No way.
Yeah, it was.
The eyes and the nose look so different.
No.
Well, a lot of it, Alice, was kind of, she was standing back away from Cooper. They used the black and white. It just, they made it so it would work. I mean, you didn't get like a fat close up of her face or something. They kept her at a distance, but still, I mean, you knew who it was.
The only thing I noticed was that her hair was longer. The wig was a little bit longer. So I said, "Oh, why did they do this?"
But you know what though? Her hair as Laura Palmer changes every time Laura Palmer shows up in anything.
Yes.
Right? I mean, if you compare Cheryl Lee's real hair in the pilot to how she looks in the season 2 finale, and then look at Fire Walk with Me, I mean, with that big giant Tammy Wynette hair, and then all of a sudden the Black Lodge in this new season, she got like this nice little cute little haircut, and then when she's when she's in the lodge in Fire Walk with Me, she's got the curls and stuff. I mean, obviously they have one heck of a beautician school in the Black Lodge. She always looks amazing. So
she was just older, so it was just, I think they blurred her face a little bit to don't make her show that it was her in the present time.
Okay, if you think so, it's fine. I doubt that.
No, it's her. No one looks like Cheryl Lee.
Yeah, trust me.
No one looks like.
But yeah, no, overall, I was very happy with the series. Little nitpicks here and there, but even then, the nitpicks, I think, for me, at least me personally, it's they're pretty forgivable.
Yeah.
So, but all right, well, there's a couple of news items we need to get to. One is until November 2nd. I haven't mentioned this on the podcast before, but just so you guys know, until November 2nd, you can enter Kyle MacLachlan's Halloween Twin Peaks costume contest. All you gotta do is dress up as your favorite Twin Peaks character. Post your photo, I believe, on Twitter or Instagram, and hashtag it Coop Loves Costumes. Contest is only open to the US. That's kind of a bummer. I didn't even see that.
We don't really now. It's Halloween is more active, but we didn't grow up with Halloween at all. So last year I went to my first Halloween party, and now Saturday I'm going just because my friend asks. But we don't really celebrate this in this part, so maybe that's why, I don't know.
I don't know, but people are already setting pictures of their dogs dressed up as Agent Cooper and stuff like that.
Would like to do that, just a cat.
Yeah, it's a little harder to get a cat dressed up though.
They won't like it.
No. John Thorne, the man behind the magazine Wrapped in Plastic, and of course the new Blue Rose magazine, he just published a new post on his blog abovethestore.blogspot.com about Wrapped in Plastic, the magazine turning 25 years. And he says this is my most self-indulgent blog, but it actually isn't. It's a great little history about how the magazine got started, and kind of the history of that. Being Twin Peaks fans, were you guys collectors of that magazine back then?
Yeah. I had I don't know the word. I subscribed to the magazine in the little store in Bruges. Yeah, but I don't have all of them. I have I don't know 20 maybe 25. I stopped because it was kind of expensive, and I still went to school. Yeah. But I just start to realize you can't have everything, so.
Gloria in the chat says, yeah, they don't want to pay for the prizes to be shipped outside the US.
I don't even recall it existing back then. There was just nothing here, nothing. The show was on, but only the first season, and then they stopped in Germany. It was a huge thing to get the second season, and even that happened many years later. And there was just the diary, the secret diary, the book by Jennifer Lynch, and that was all I had.
Here they had 3 books: the Town of Twin Peaks, the Welcoming Guide, Laura's Diary, and the Cooper, and they
I got those books, but many years later.
But the magazines were from America, so it was like a comic store, and I asked everywhere for Twin Peaks stuff. Do you have something? Do you have something?
Yeah.
And one guy said, "Yeah, I can order the Wrapped in Plastics for you if you want." So I remember, it was the price. I don't remember.
Yeah, you actually had to meet someone who had like a bookstore or something. You had to actually meet someone who knew Twin Peaks and about its existence, so he could order stuff for you. Yeah, that was hard.
This UK Fest, I had a picture like this one here from the 3 girls. I had a big picture I gave to James Marshall and Charlene Fenn, and I said I sent dollars to America to order these pictures. It was pre-internet time. I said, this is super old. They were like, oh, cool. So yeah, I think it was in a magazine somewhere, and it was, you can order Twin Peaks stuff and you have to write and send us money and we will send you the picture. That's what I did. And we had to go to the bank to ask dollars. What a time.
I remember.
Now, Emilie, you have quite a bit of Twin Peaks collection behind you. I know you have some items with you that you wanted to kind of show off. Talk a little bit about your collection, and have you been collecting since the beginning of the series, or when did you start your collecting?
Yes. But I made. If I would have known, I don't know where it's upstairs. I have like a magazine that with all just prints, Twin Peaks from magazines you buy in the store, and pictures of all the cast, all the actors, and I put it in like a scrapbook. I I must have been 12 years old when I started with that. It was super difficult to find something. So the only things we had was from the Humo. It's a book here, alternative magazine.
But you still have your scrapbook?
Yes. It's not, if you
that's
want,
great.
That's my boyfriend. Mario? I can ask him.
Yeah, I still have my scrapbook at age 14 too.
Honey. Oh, he's playing the bass. He doesn't hear me. No, but I started buying on eBay when in 1998, right? The internet restarted. So it was like this. And I literally thought I was one of the only fans around, or even I didn't know it was so.
It was dead. I mean, for people who don't know, after Fire Walk With Me, I would say around 94 to let's say 2000. Yeah. I mean, I remember reading articles saying you would never even believe that Twin Peaks was ever on the air. And that's kind of like how it felt. It felt after Quentin Tarantino and the Pulp Fiction revolution happened. Yeah. It was like David Lynch, Twin Peaks, this whole universe was forgotten about completely. And it was a very dark time.
I had a lot of stuff because of the Lynch movies were in the cinema, in alternative cinemas. And that's hi here. Can you get the scrapbook upstairs in the white closet? It's with the owls. Okay, all the Twin Peaks stuff. I went to see Lost Highway in the cinema. This was my first live. I seen all the movies in the cinema afterwards, but I saw Lost Highway in 1997, I think, right? So and then I took like this stuff from the cinema, and I asked the posters, "Can I have the posters, please?" So it's very to have something from David Lynch. Yeah.
Now we have a question for you too. Wilton in the chat wants to throw out this question because you guys are big Fire Walk With Me fans. Do you think the old lady that shows up at Carl Rod's door in Fire Walk With Me would be a Woods woman?
No, I think she's just a mental woman.
Right, because the Sabrina Sutherland, told us that the first woodsman was Jürgen Prochnow in Fire Walk With Me in the Above the Convenience Store scene with that horrifying beard.
Oh, it was the big box.
Yeah, I mean the woman could be related, but on the other hand, she could be just dirty.
I think she was just what you call people who live like that, are poor. I think just David Lynch liked that kind of stuff. So I think he loves.
Yeah, he's got always this weird woman type in his movies. It's like I don't know. Who was that? Right now it was Beulah. I was so intrigued by Beulah. This is some very weird kind of type of woman.
From
in the cabin that Mr. C walks into at the beginning of.
Yes, we did.
Well, I want to know about that whole family because there's that little guy and a giant and the giant in the back. So.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, it's a fascinating kind of backwoods family that he was surrounding himself with.
Yeah, we found my scratchbook. You want to see?
Yes.
Sure.
See. It's just if I see it now, it's super cute. It's like, oh, what did I do? See?
Yeah.
I was really young, maybe 12. So.
Now, where were you getting those pictures from? Like those scenery shots, since there was no internet.
No, this is just forests.
From magazines. Yeah.
And owls that I found. This is from the internet. This was just I printed. My dad had a printer, color printer. So, but see, this was what I was looking for, like from Julie Cruz This is a report from the book.
The diary. Yeah.
I wrote the Hawks poem in English.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, actually, Twin Peaks is the reason why I speak English. Like we have English in school, but not super good. So I thank Twin Peaks for speaking English for a long time. Look, and just see interviews with the stars, stuff like that. See all the actors, just from the movies from when they were in magazines. So that's
yeah, especially those tiny ones. You kept those tiny ones from TV program schedule magazines. Yeah, I still have a scrapbook, just like yours, but not Twin Peaks related. I still keep it and I still work on it for over 20 years now.
Alice, I would, if there was a TV guide and I saw a little mention of like Twin Peaks about this big, I actually would buy the whole magazine just so I could clip out that little blurb. I remember when Entertainment Weekly did their big summer movie 1992 series. All these movies like Batman Returns would get like full pages, and then Twin Peaks got a blurb, I think about this big, and it was just Cooper standing with Laura and the Black Lodge, that familiar shot. And I was going, that's it? That's what we're going to get for August 28th? Okay.
It's actually quite sad that I didn't keep the whole magazine. Like, this must be super old from Julie. So I don't, from a lot of magazines, a lot of articles, I don't need.
That's going back because you got One Night Stand in there with Kyle MacLachlan and stuff.
It's still all from Blue Velvet and Sherilyn Fenn interviews and Lara Flynn Boyle. Yeah, that's the only thing I had back then. And then this is, my dad is a photographer, so he made reproductions from pictures from magazines that I have. So then that was nice. So I had Twin Peaks posters because my dad had like a thing to make pictures from magazines, and it's kind of legal, I think, now. But the only thing.
Hey, in the 90s, listen, in 1990, 92, 94, you had to do what you had to do, right? So.
Yeah, right. So this is when they re-aired Twin Peaks again. I don't know the year, so they put stuff like this. This is a super old. I could never throw it away, of course. It's super.
Oh, I understand.
Oh yeah, never throw that stuff away. I mean, I still have all the stuff when I was a kid too from it all. So
yeah, you're a little older than me, I think, right?
When you were 12, I was 14 when the show aired in 1990. So
yeah, I'm from 81, so yeah. But you were in America, you were at the source of Twin Peaks. In Belgium, it was a hype. My mom always says like she was undercover Laura Palmer and everybody was curious. So, but it wasn't like it was in America.
Now, did you get it when it originally aired? Because I know England got it like a year later, and they played.
Yeah.
They played like season 1 and 2 like back to back, so no one even knew that there was a break.
Yeah, I think the same. It must be the same as England. In 1991, I think they aired it here. Yeah, I think. Yeah, so it must be later. Yeah, so.
Yeah, and then and then when they re-aired it for you, that's when the Log Lady introductions came in for you guys. Because I mean, over here they did it for a station called the Bravo Network, and that's where Lynch originally filmed them for.
No, there were no Log Lady.
I don't recall any introductions.
No, there weren't in the original series, but when they re-aired it here in the States in 1996 on Bravo, that's when Lynch created Log Lady introductions.
No, they didn't do it here. I think it was strange enough already for the Europeans. I remember my aunt My aunt said that she watched, but she stopped because she said it was too weird. It was strange stuff going on, and a lot of people didn't understand at all.
People in the chat would like us to briefly mention the fact that Julie Cruz is saying now she's going to quit social media because of possible threats coming towards her, which that seems strange that anybody would be so stupid to threaten her, because I mean, she's like gone back and said like, I'm very happy with the show. You know, that was just kind of a thing where I just got kind of, you know, egocentric about, you know, not having the song play out in full. I don't know. It seems so strange that there's all this controversy with her.
Why would anybody threaten her? Why?
Because that's just the stupidity of the internet.
Yeah. No, she.
Okay.
It's more like I know Julie for a long time now. We have contact. We message each other a lot, and it will pass. Just we don't even respond. I understand her. She's super sensitive. She's super sweet and she's super sensitive. So if someone says something wrong, she takes it to heart, I think, and she's probably just afraid. It will pass. She will stay. Don't worry.
I don't have any doubts about that. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's get to the big news that happened just this morning, and that is a man by the name of Davy Morrison Dillard. I hope I'm saying that name correctly. Posted this on I believe it's a Facebook page called Twin Peaks Dialogue, LOG in all caps. And he was at the Austin Film Festival, and he said that Mark Frost was there, heading up a couple panels, and he took some notes on some of the things that Mark Frost said about the last season. And here are some of the things, and we can touch base on them. One is Mark Frost remarked multiple times on the passage of time being a central thematic interest in the new series for him as a writer. Well, I think that's pretty evident in what we saw. There was a lot of glitches in time and also, you know, reflecting on the past versus where we were now. Would you agree with that or disagree with that?
There's a lot of words I didn't understand.
Oh, okay.
I agree. I personally agree. It was the parallels and like dimensions and time things were just all over the place. So yeah, yes,
right. Exactly. He says Greek mythology was an influence. Pandora's box in episode 8 and the Orpheus myth in episode 17. He says, quote, "It's an act of hubris to think you can change history and change the course of time." And that's what the finale was partly about.
Yeah.
I can see that too.
Yeah. Yes, makes total sense.
But see, the thing is, though, is that's again, it's. I mean, these are his viewpoints. I can see where he's saying, but that's kind of operating the fact that that's suggesting, and I know there's people out there who feel this way, that Cooper, the ending of this series shows that Cooper failed, that he may have saved Laura Palmer, but he failed by trapping them in this, you know, weird alternate universe.
No.
I take it the exact opposite. I think he succeeded. I think he saved her, and while they may be displaced in some other alternate universe, at least they have each other. And to me, it feels like her scream at the end with all the lights going out. Some people look at that as a dark ending. I look at it as like, well, that's signifying that she's gonna, you know, basically, you know, blow the lid off this place, and the electricity is gonna go out, and Laura's gonna win ultimately. That's how I take it.
Yeah, I would agree with what you said, but only if this was the ending, and I know it's not. So you could basically make such seasons like the third one 100 times and do it differently each and every time, and because there is no ending to it. So you say he succeeded. I say he is onto something. He is working on it.
Right. I just mean that we're heading more towards a positive place, I think, more than they're just trapped in some universe.
Yes, it's both. It's a mixture of both.
Emilie, how did you take the ending? I mean, Agent Cooper is a very important figure in this universe for a lot of fans. Did you look at the finale, like the last 2 hours, as a sad, tragic ending, or an ending that is heading towards a positive resolution somewhere down the line?
I told my boyfriend immediately, I don't think this is the end. I think they will do another season. And he said, no, it's a perfect ending. I said, something inside me says they will do more. So I think it's very open ending. I didn't see it as negative. I saw it as positive, but so many questions, right? If anyone who doesn't really know Twin Peaks too much, they'd ask, how was the third season? Did you like it? I said, yeah, he left us with even more questions, like much more questions when they ended at season 2. So, but I think there's more. There's
a lot of people online that will say, well, season 3 ended perfectly. It was great. It was, we don't need any more. And I understand that point of view. Mm-hmm. Here's where I just come in with an objection to that. I heard the same thing before season 3 began, when people would say the ending of the series and Fire Walk with Me collectively as a whole, it wraps everything up. It's a perfect, beautiful, elegiac ending, and it's over. No need to mess it up. Mm-hmm. And now we got season 3, and now they're saying the same thing again. So it's like, well, was it perfect before, or was it perfect now? And now they've expanded the world so much that we don't even have to be in Twin Peaks for half the series anymore. So.
I like the creativity that they opened so many questions. And I think Sabrina Sutherland also said that, David Lynch said that there are not too many explanations. You just have to make your own. And I thought she said something like, David Lynch wants you to make your own theory. And that's the good thing about it. You can have he loves that people have their own ideas how to interpret it. So,
well, there's nothing.
A lot of stuff doesn't even have an explanation.
We are all agents.
Yeah. So he says, when I reveal too much, something like that. She said, when he reveals too much, your imagination stops. So you have to. He does this on purpose.
Well, it's like in the second season, right? I mean, they play for us Laura whispering in Cooper's ear, "My father killed me." In this new series, she whispers in his ear a few times, and we even end with that image of her whispering in his ear, but only this time we never hear what she says.
No, but he looks very troubled. You see fear in his eyes from Cooper, so.
Right. No. All right, let's continue on here. Said that Mark Frost and Lynch began discussing Twin Peaks in August of 2012. They spent a year discussing it, another year writing the first 2 hours, and then one more year to write the rest of the series. Now, that's interesting that they would spend a year writing the first 2 hours, because I had heard reports that the first 2 hours had nothing to do with Twin Peaks. So they went back and kind of used some of Showtime's notes to incorporate a little bit of Twin Peaks into there. But then it only took one more year to write the rest of the series. You would think it would, take a lot longer than just, if they took a year to write 2 hours and then just one more year to write 16 more hours.
Wow. Yes, I believe that. From a perspective, like from mine as an artist, I know exactly what this means, because it happens to me over and over again. When I start a project, the tiny little things which seem not so important take so much time, and after this is created, everything just flows very quickly. So from this perspective, it makes sense to me.
Yeah, oh, it does to me too. It's just interesting to hear this like officially stated. That's all. It says this new series was written very much in response to the crisis and subsequent global panic of 2008 and 2009. I can see that. There's a lot of references to, you know, we're the 99 percenters, you know, the Rancho Rosas, like all abandoned, these, you know, these neighborhoods. Everybody's living in mobile parks now, you know, trailers and stuff. It's you don't see a lot of wealth in this new series, except for maybe the Mitchum brothers. But
something we might know less about because we're not from America. Didn't really know what they meant by that.
Said that Mark Frost approached the script less as a TV series or as an 18-hour movie, and more as a novel that was to be filmed. Mm-hmm. He said that Mark Frost and Lynch were drawn to Las Vegas as a setting because of the ghost towns that were there because of the suburban developments that were built, and then with the financial collapse, those neighborhoods were abandoned, which is where Rancho Rosa came from. It says the scene where, sorry, there's some audio feedback here. The scene where Alice, can you, I don't know who it is. Can you just turn down the volume a little bit so there's no like feedback? Okay, thanks. Says the scene where Candy hits the Mitchum brother with the remote was conceived by Lynch after a light fell on Robert Knepper on set, leaving a mark that they would have to explain narratively. So they created that whole scene just so that they could explain maybe why he had that mark on his face. Kind of interesting. I guess they had already shot scenes that happened after that, so they or let me think, because if that was like one of the first scenes they shot, then they wouldn't have to cover it up because you know, they could have just said, oh, he had a gash on his face or something like that. But they obviously felt like they had to match continuity with other scenes. So
was it fun?
Yeah, it was a good scene. I have to say, out of the whole series, it was like, you know, it's kind of a serious tone through a lot of it, and then all of a sudden Candy shows up and it becomes like On the Air or something, you know, this very goofy kind of comedy. And
I like they added humor again. It was wonderful.
Right now, this is
in the beginning was more serious, right, and then the humor started to come in. It was great.
Right. It said, now this one I don't believe, but I mean, I believe it a little bit, but I find it hard to believe. And that is Frost and Lynch did not conceive the return with the line, "I'll see you again in 25 years. They had both forgotten about it and heard it again while screening the series to prepare for writing the new show. As soon as they heard it, they turned to each other thinking it must be a sign they were doing the right thing." Now, I can understand them like watching the series again and going, okay, yeah, okay, that's great. But I find it hard to believe that Mark Frost wasn't approached over the last 25 years by fans saying, is it going to come back with the, you know, "I'll see you again in 25." I mean, they've been bombarded with that line. How could they forget about that line?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. I agree.
It cracks me up.
I agree.
Now, this one I find really interesting. He says, in the original script, Audrey had recovered from the bomb and was running a hair salon. She interacted with her son, Richard, who treated her as poorly as he does his grandmother. It wasn't until they were already shooting that Lynch had other ideas for the character and called Frost to let him know. Lynch wrote the Audrey material himself, and Frost signed off on it, with his blessing, feeling it was more exciting than what they had originally come up with. Now, what I find interesting about this is, even though it's a completely different story, the mirror that Sherilyn Fenn is looking at the end, that is sort of like a beautician school mirror. So it's almost like, even though it's not the same story, they still incorporated elements from that idea into this thing, even though she's not obviously in a hair salon at the end of the series. It's not like she wakes up from her nap, you know, in between customers or something, and looks at herself in the mirror. But I do think it's an interesting idea. They kind of changed her whole story, which is maybe another reason why Sherilyn was at first a little thrown by everything, because she had signed on for one thing and then was given another. But anyway, I mean, let's pause there for a second. Emilie, what did you think of the Audrey Horne subplot in this series?
Well, I thought that she was in a mental institution, and we asked Sherilyn Fenn. We asked her at she was super sweet when I met her twice, and so I said, "What happened?" I actually never talk with the actors about Twin Peaks, never, but with Sherilyn I did, and I said, "What happened to Audrey?" And before we talked about that, is she in a mental institution, and what happened to her? And she said, "You just told me what happened to her." So, and I said, "David said it to you?" She said, "Yes." So I think we are quite sure she's in a mental institution and she wakes up. She was in a dream world. She was probably having a son like that, and seeing her history, what happened, and I think emotional problems, it runs in the family. You remember when they say it? So I think she went a little crazy.
The only thing I can say against that, though, is a mental institution would not allow patients to have mirrors like that in their room, because they would commit suicide with the glass or something.
Maybe she was in the bathroom, or
she was in the bathroom. Yeah, no, I mean,
Sherilyn said that she was, if I remember correctly, what she said is that she was in her own dream world, but she was in a mental institution. Yeah.
But there seems to be almost a little bit more going on because of that sound of the electricity that's happening. Whenever the woodsmen show up, I mean, that sound is playing underneath her, looking at herself in the mirror. So I almost took it as if the doppelganger had, did what he did with Diane and then put her above the convenience store or wherever, and he had his way with Audrey, then maybe he put her someplace too. And, maybe she was coming out of her dream world, whatever, and realizing she was trapped somewhere otherworldly, because they that electricity sound definitely gives it a different dimension.
I only saw, I have to admit, I saw the whole new series from episode 1 till episode 8. I saw 2 times. I saw episode 8 3 times. But after that, only 1, because I didn't have time to look more. So I just have to see more details. We are planning to watch from the start again. So I didn't. So the new series, I'm still not 100%. Everybody went crazy with ideas and this and this and this and this and this. We were like, no, stop! Just let the images flow first, and it was all a lot.
Yeah.
Completely. Let it settle in. Yes, I totally agree with you, and I use the word traumatized because it describes exactly what personally what I'm going through, and I haven't been able to rewatch it. Still, I haven't. I just can't. It's like a trauma, and Cameron, when you just mentioned the sound of electricity, do you mean the scene where Audrey wakes up? Is there the sound? Because
yes.
I don't remember that.
No, I didn't remember either.
And then they play the,
Yeah.
and then it cuts to the band again playing her theme, but now the theme is played backwards. So
That's true. Yeah.
yeah. All right, continuing on, it says Mark Frost is very much into Carl Jung, and Lynch is not. So for Mark Frost himself, the Cooper story was very much about a character who had not yet integrated with his shadow self to become a full person.
Uh-huh.
That's I can see that coming through as well. Says Mark Frost had the idea for the Secret History book after the original series ended, but he didn't get a chance to do it. So he was excited when the opportunity presented itself with the new series. What do you mean he didn't get a chance to do it? I'm kind of confused by that. He had 25 years to do it.
He's a writer, so he made other books, but
Yeah.
probably a lot of stuff was already there, and he just waited because new Twin Peaks was coming out.
Right.
Yeah, that was something I was going to ask you, Cameron. What do you think? Do you think some parts of both books, or most of both books, are actually old material?
Well, I firmly believe, after looking at the new book that's coming out, I believe that the new book was part of the Secret History of Twin Peaks, and that it kind of tilted its hand a little bit in terms of which way characters were going to be going, or characters that they weren't even going to touch on in the new series. So Lynch, probably with Mark Frost, agreed to just excise certain things so that we wouldn't have any preconceived notions going into this new series.
Yes, I got that, and
Yeah.
I agree. But the question is, do you think this material is old, like 10, 15, 20 years old?
Well, if you look at the Secret History of Twin Peaks, I mean, whether you like it or not like it, it certainly was not cranked out over a couple weeks, you know, to just cash out on the. I mean, it looks like there was some like 10 years of research going into that book.
Yeah,
which is why it reads. I mean, I you know, like kind of like a school textbook. I mean, it is so much information in it that it's, you know, it's that's why a lot of people say the audio version helps a lot, because reading it just felt like a college textbook or something, you know.
Yes, that's true. Yeah,
I listened as an audio. I have to drive to work with the car, so it was every day, every morning and evening, the audiobook. When I came home,
I listened to the audio and reading the book at the same time. So this helps a lot. But it's I don't know. It's like a lot is missing there. A lot.
Mm.
Some things are really put in places, like this Shiva, or this all this Illuminati stuff. I'm still trying to connect the dots within the book, and there is no success for now.
Maybe the new book will reveal a lot.
Yeah, I hope so.
Well, the new book is much smaller than the other history.
Yeah.
So.
What was it? Like 160 pages?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. It says Mark Frost felt that there ought to be an origin story for the evil in this world, and that's where episode 8 came from. The atomic explosion was a paragraph on the page that they knew from the outset would be 15 minutes on screen. The entire episode 8 was 12 pages long. And he said, without further explanation, I hope you think, I'm going to say it again, so there's no feedback. I hope you figure out who the little girl in episode 8 was by the end. Now, to me, that is there are two possibilities. Then it is either Sarah Palmer or the actual Linda, because that song from the 50s is replayed when Cooper and Diane are in the motel room, and if they're supposed to be Richard and Linda, then 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 Linda could have been the girl, because that's when the song was first played, when the woodsman showed up in her area.
Yeah.
So it's, I don't know. I mean, a lot of people online were saying it's not Sarah Palmer. It's not Sarah Palmer. It very well could be, and that could have been the Judy thing just incubating in her this whole time, or it's Linda and the Judy / experiment, when it crashed out of the glass, that's when it possessed Sarah Palmer. I don't know. Where do you guys have any theories on that?
I think she looks a little like Bob. I think my first thought was that they were Bob's parents, but I don't think it fits the time zone, probably. But I thought they were Bob's parents. I never thought it was Sarah Palmer.
What about you?
Doesn't look like.
What about you, Alice?
It could be, but I don't know.
All right, a couple other things here. This thing makes me laugh a lot. Mark Frost asked. Sorry, I'm getting a lot of feedback. Can you just adjust the volume a little bit? I don't know.
It's not just you. I hear it from both of you.
Okay.
My sound is perfect here.
Okay.
Okay.
Mark Frost asked to write the script with David Lynch via Skype for the sole purpose that he didn't have to inhale Lynch's secondhand smoke. I thought they were just busy. No, it's because he didn't want us be around Lynch's smoking all the time.
Nah, Sabrina told us at the UK festival that they live far apart, so that's why they write everything through Skype. And of course, I think David is a very busy man. He does a lot of other stuff too. They can't be in the same place. They both have their families, I guess.
But it is kind of a humorous thing to say, though.
I read it was super funny. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, obviously it doesn't give everybody the answers they're looking for, but at least it kind of sheds some light as to, their perspective on things, at least Mark Frost's perspective on things. And from what I've seen of this new book is sort of a, celebration of the characters of Twin Peaks, a lot of which from the original series that were not touched on in the new series. So if you are a fan of, like what happened with, Wyndham Earl and Annie Blackburn and all those characters, they're in the new book. So that's a lot of fun,
Finally, something about Annie.
I know we got one mention of her in the series, and that was it. And when Hawk proved how senile he was becoming, because he obviously couldn't remember how many diary pages they had found, because his count is completely off.
I think so.
Yeah,
he said there was 4 pages missing, and they only found 3. We found 6. So far in the series, if you actually do the counting. So
yeah, there's another idea. Do you think there will be another missing diary page in the upcoming book?
Maybe, because people have been suggesting that's why her name is Carrie Page.
Yeah, I think so.
It is interesting. There's I still don't believe that for one second that Leland Palmer is the one that put those pages in the bathroom stall. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So.
No, probably Mike. Wasn't it Mike?
It could have been Mike. It could have been Major Briggs. He was time traveling all over the place.
Yes.
So, I mean, anything's possible. But Leland Palmer is not going to take the time to unscrew the bathroom stall and stick pages in there. You could have ripped them up, flushed them on the toilet, ate them. I mean, could have done right? I mean, look how much work it was for Hawk to open up that door,
Yeah.
himself. I think Leland Palmer has the patience for that. I don't think so.
No, it doesn't make any sense. No,
it's just, and I think that sometimes the shows will say things and we're supposed to accept things at face value. but I really do think that things like this are made for us to question as longtime fans. Like, well, wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Maybe Hawk just doesn't remember fully. But I do agree that I feel like there is going to be more coming. One of the reasons is even in that Fire Walk With Me clip, Emily, that they show, because they could have easily just shown Cooper watching Laura talk to James, but we specifically, they specifically kept the shot where Laura says, even Donna doesn't know me, which is the first mention of Donna Hayward pretty much in this series. And if you notice, when Sarah as Judy knocks over to start stabbing Laura's picture, and she knocks all the pictures off the table, the only picture standing left is Laura and Donna, the Lara Flynn Boyle picture. And also they left in the line of Bobby killed a guy. Now, why is that?
Listen,
why is that important?
About this killing. Wait. The first time I was on your podcast, we have been there on this story, and I have written it down. What James says to Donna at the end of the pilot, he says, she said something about a guy getting killed. She said Bobby told her that he killed this guy.
Yeah.
This is what James is telling Donna, that Laura told him that Bobby told her that he killed the guy.
Right.
But we know from Fire Walk With Me, she was there with him, with Bobby.
And prior to Fire Walk With Me, I always took it as James misunderstanding Laura, that she was actually referring to Bob, and he thought she meant Bobby. So that's how I always took it during the original series, was that that Bob had killed somebody else and that he had just taken it as Bobby. But obviously they went back and made Bobby Briggs, shoot the guy.
Yeah.
But I wonder though, by bringing up that line again and having Cooper overhear it, of Laura saying Bobby killed a guy, I mean, there's no reason to include that line into the ending of season 3 if it's not going to bite, Bobby, in the tail feathers later down the line, because I mean, he's trying to change his life and be this, new person. But to me, maybe that's why he's crying when he sees Laura's picture, is it's bringing back all these memories and the idea and the moment where he actually, shot a sheriff's deputy.
Exactly.
I think James also knew Laura was super high on drugs and she was rambling about. Maybe he didn't take it too seriously, because she was always very drugged.
No, but he took everything seriously, because he could recall so much when he was interrogated by Cooper at the police station. But this is so weird, okay, listen. I was never a big fan of James, and for me, it's a thing like from real life. When I was 16, I was dating guys like James and like Bobby too, and you know those kind of guys. And James always seemed very, how do you say, like sleazy, a little liar, like a snake. Like
James?
A snake, actually. I never trusted James. He was so...
He's like that sensitive poet
and
type.
nice and lovely, when in fact he was a liar and a cheater. So even later with Donna, he was like, this thing, like, I need to go out and find myself with my bike. I will go on the road and sleep with other women who are married too. I mean, come on. James was a sleazeball. I don't know. and
was just trouble too, and the Evelyn Marsh thing, she took advantage of him. He didn't want that.
Yeah, but after what James has experienced and saw in his hometown Twin Peaks, he should know better. So come on. I mean, I'm still intrigued with what he's saying to Donna. You know, when he's saying that Laura said something about a guy getting killed, and Laura said that Bobby told her, which is not true. Which is not true.
So you're saying that because he says it differently to Donna, then therefore he's changing the truth to suit his needs?
Probably. Knowingly or not, that's another topic. But still, I mean, maybe there is something in this timeline as well, and we don't know. Or maybe it's just, I don't know. Maybe Mark Frost and David Lynch screwed something up. I don't know, but I don't believe it.
I always thought one of the big mistakes was not so much the Evelyn Marsh storyline, but I wish it had tied back into Laura somehow, where maybe Evelyn was related to Teresa Banks or something.
Some connection, yes.
So that James would feel like everywhere he goes in the immediate area was all going to keep pulling him back into this Laura Palmer thing. So that's why he had to leave town. That, I mean, to me, that would make much more narrative sense. But Emilie, I don't want to keep you on too long, but I know you have a couple mugs and pins to show us before we go.
I have a lot of stuff, and I didn't think about when you asked me before, like, you have some stuff to show. I have a lot of stuff, but I also have the in the living room in the Great Northern, when they show Al Strobel, the one-armed man. They focus on the clock with the falls. You remember?
Mm-hmm.
I bought it a couple of months ago. Super. But I have the Twin Peaks mug for a long time. I always wanted it. Super. It's always quite expensive. And my boyfriend moved in with me, so he took his. So we have both. So
is that a little owl head poking out?
Yeah. I collect owls since I was a Twin Peaks fan back then. So I have a lot of owls too. This is from the Twin Peaks. No, this is from a store. She gave it to me. Everything is in. But one of my best friends from the UK gave me these 3 pins, and I'm super grateful for it. They are from the VHSs. It said 1991. He said I had all of them, and you had to save coupons or something, and then send money, and then he said I lost one. I have one with a pie, one with a log, and one with the donuts. So these are super rare. So I have a lot of stuff, but I don't really. I really loved my mug. It was super. How you say super? It's original from the US. I was super.
Emilie, listen. I'm planning to have a Twin Peaks related birthday online very soon. Cameron knows a little about this, but we won't spoil anything yet. I would like you to join. It's gonna be like in about 2 weeks, and show us all of your Twin Peaks stuff. Let's meet and show off, all of us. Seriously.
Take my phone and go around the house. They have posters in.
Reggie in the chat says, the real clock from the episode, Emilie?
No, of course not. You want to see it? Want me to see it? Okay. Yeah. Give me a sec.
Alice and I will keep chatting while...
Yeah.
Let's
nice
see
room.
they're all talking about in the chat the Saturday Night Live sketch of Twin Peaks that Kyle did. That was a great, wonderful sketch, which is available on the gold box set. But for whatever reason, they did not bring it over to the Blu-ray set. Nor did they bring over the Georgia Coffee Cup commercials either. Have you seen those Saturday Night Live sketches, Alice?
Listen, I have many things here, and the Blu-rays and the DVDs, but I also have lots of digital copies on my computer, and I watch Twin Peaks. Okay, right now I'm not doing this ever since the third season ended, but before I have been watching Twin Peaks on regular basis, like on daily basis, almost every day for the past 25 years now, but like 15 years. And I haven't been using and watching much of the original DVD copies and Blu-rays, so I'm not sure what is where put exactly. But I know what you mean, and I have this Saturday Night Live sketches on my computer, and I collect all I can get on the internet ever since I'm on the internet. So there is so much. I even bought an external hard drive just for Twin Peaks related stuff. So, I'm not crazy. Nobody here is crazy or crazy collector. No, not at all. No.
It's just funny because, like, I can't think of any other TV show that you could really do this with.
Breaking
the
Bad.
fans are.
That was my other number one. It meant the world to me. But that was when it started. I have been living in the States. I was living in New York, and I remember when Breaking Bad started, and it wasn't that big. I believe it's the huge popularity became after or during the second season.
Season 4.
But I remember
I always thought it
watching
was
the
season
first
4.
one. Yeah, and that was big for me, and I don't know. I tried to collect all of the stuff, but it's just too much, and it's not me. I understand the culture when you grow up in the States, and all this collective sickness by collecting stuff and buying stuff. I get that, but I don't have it that much simply because I'm not from that culture, but I understand. So was a lot going on with Breaking Bad, and at the same time, when it got bigger, um, the main reason for Walter White was his diagnosis, and at the same time, I got my diagnosis with MS. So I was dreaming from season to another season. What if I had the clue and the knowledge that Walter White has? Would I be going into the same direction as he was? It kept me busy for many years. But I agree with you, not the same way like it's with Twin Peaks, because it's so different. It's so different, and it lasted much longer. And I believe Twin Peaks can stay, let's say, active and on top for the next 25 plus years. I believe this.
Well, I mean, real quick, we're all huge fans of David Lynch's work. We love so many of his movies. But what is it about Twin Peaks that's different than, let's say, I don't know, Eraserhead, Mulholland Drive, Inland Empire, all his other movies? It's like, those movies are deliberately dreamlike and open-ended too, a lot of the times, but people don't spend years or create podcasts revolving around that work. Why do we talk about Twin Peaks differently than his other work? And I think it comes down
because it's not a TV show. It's like the wolf in sheep's clothing, because Twin Peaks is like it's like science. It is science, and I would like to repeat word by Dr. Jacoby. the problems of our entire society are of sexual nature. And I think after watching season 3, it is that it represents our society. The problems of our society are all over the place on season 3. And it's just, in this season, it was just a tiny little part of the so-called real life as we know it. And everything around it was what we call mystery. It's not mystery, it's science. And I think, like I said in the beginning, when I joined you and your crew here, it's not a basic TV show. There are basic TV shows, and it's great for people who like to stay in this basic thing. It's awesome. It's great. But Twin Peaks, it's not basic, and it's not a TV show. It's represented as a TV show. It's a story with scientific background. And this is why it keeps people in this mindset, and you know, it keeps you busy and your mind because it's scientific.
But I also think it's almost like the way people online talk about Star Wars and about them being at the perfect age to take it all in. If you look at the kind of the ages we all were in when Twin Peaks hit, it was all within the 10 to 15, 10 years old to 15. Those are formative years. And Twin Peaks to me is what Star Wars is to so many other people. It's like, it was the work that brought me in, that showed me that, film could be more than just, stories. It could take you to other places, make you think, make you dream. And I think having those, whether it did with the old series or the original or the newer series, they would have one episode and then you have to wait a week until the next episode. So you had that space in between the episodes to take it in, to think about it, dream about it, talk with people about it. So I think that kind of carries it from just being a TV show you just Netflix and binge watch into something you actually live with. It becomes a part of you. And I think that's where it's a little different than other shows. Now, Emily, you have you found what you were looking for?
Yeah, just wanted to say something about this. This is a period in our lives that will never come back. There was nothing like Twin Peaks back then. Now you have millions of shows we still have to watch, and people are talking about this and this and this. But back then, Twin Peaks was so different from everything else, and it was the first, also different from other Lynch movies because it was the first thing I saw from Lynch. I didn't see Razorhead yet because I was too young, probably. But Twin Peaks was the first thing I saw, and I think also the Laura Palmer story was the thing that attracted me and a lot of other young girls. We were growing up in the world, and we were sometimes reading the Laura Palmer diary. We were the same age as Laura.
Yeah, you felt related. Yeah.
Yeah, we grew up with this, so it's in our hearts forever because we grew up with it. At a time there was nothing like Twin Peaks, and it will always be the most special thing ever.
Well, on that note, what did you find in the other room?
Well, I have a lot of stuff, but the thing that is most dear to me is that I met Angelo Badalamenti, and I saw him perform live a lot of Twin Peaks songs and a lot of his other work. I have an autograph on my CDs, but that was the moment I was. He was super nice, super relaxed, super normal. So that was my favorite Twin Peaks moment, is when I met Angelo and I saw him live. I was crying. But from stuff, I have this. I got it from an old friend. It's Agent Cooper beer. It's super rare. Damn good coffee porter. It's not open. So it's from the Netherlands. The clock, you will recognize it, I think. What did you recognize it?
Mm-hmm.
Cameron,
I don't even see it.
You don't see it?
It's from when they're interrogating Al Strobel, or they're showing him if Bob is in the room, if Bob is in the Great Northern, and they first show this.
Oh
clip.
no, I see. Yes.
There's a light, and then it's a stream. It's totally to buy this. Lindsay from the Twin Peaks UK Fest told me, Emily, there's one online. She knew I was looking for one. So thank you. And this is also quite rare, I think. The original Rolling Stone.
Yes.
Yeah, mine is all cut up. But yeah.
Oh. No, mine is good.
No, because I did it for my scrapbook. I cut them out and then put them in the scrapbook, and so I don't have the whole magazine.
Luckily, I didn't do it.
Yeah.
And I have the board game too. It was super cheap. It was €20, $20 maybe. And this is super cute. I made this poster. I wrote this wrong, I guess, my English, when I was the age. The log lady is fantastic.
Yeah.
And this, I got it from Charlotte. It's a tote bag. She makes these for a good cause, for cancer, I think. You know, she makes these, Charlotte. I make jewelry, so I if I go to fan meetings, I always give something to them, just because I love them. And Charlotte was super cute, but I met her twice then in the same year after. And she said, Emily, I'm going to give you something back. And I made her an amethyst necklace. And she said, I want to give you something. Give me your address. I'll send it for free. I said, no, you don't have to do this. It's just a present for you. She said, no, give me your address. So she sent it to me. Super sweet. And
that's great.
Yeah. And these I made. It's super fun. It's
for the books.
Book standards.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
I made it in wood in class in school when I was in high school. It was a project in art class, I think, or something. And they say, make something you like. So I made fire. Walk with me standards.
I like those.
Yeah, you do. I thought they were a little bit of failure back then. It's like, but only Twin Peaks fans know what this means.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's
well, you may be a super fan, but I don't think you've gone as far as this one guy I saw on YouTube who converted his bedroom into the Black Lodge.
So many people. If I go to the Twin Peaks festivals or people I see online or we saw how many of our best friends watched 5 times, 7 times the whole new 3rd season, and we think we are very normal. We're very good, very Twin Peaks fans, but super normal. Yeah.
Well, I think we should probably wrap up today. Emily, is there a way for people to follow you online, like on Twitter? And do you have anything like that, or?
I am an admin for a big Twin Peaks page, and because of that, I have a lot of people who add me. A lot of people I don't know who they are, but I accept the Twin Peaks fans, so I don't mind.
What's the page you run?
The One-Eyed Jacks, I think it's called. It's I don't know. I do it together with Rob from the Twin Peaks UK Festival and a lot of other people. It's just Twin Peaks. I don't know if you know which one.
But it's One-Eyed Jacks on Facebook.
It says One-Eyed Jacks. It's One-Eyed Jacks is the last. I don't really know.
Okay.
But I with the new season, everybody's going wild, and I stopped reading too much. Actually, I just want my own mind to.
Yeah.
I
don't mind hearing some people's theories, but I don't go on a lot of the message boards and threads just because Twin Peaks to me is has always been, like I said, a very spiritual and kind of religious thing for me. And so I don't want like just all those things kind of like coming into my head. I'd like to just kind of live in my own, I like to dream the dream and then live inside my own dream.
You talk about it a lot, and me and my boyfriend, we're both Twin Peaks geeks, and we don't even talk about it too much. We just, the images, it all needs to settle down, if you know what I mean. It's still a little bit much, and we will watch again, and then it will come naturally, I guess. But to follow, I have Instagram and Facebook, and I made a lot of pictures for the Twin Peaks UK Fest. I did it just for my friends, because every year they ask me, take some pictures, and I bought a new camera, and it was perfect. And they are openly, so everybody can see, but everybody can add me. I don't mind.
And people just can find you on like Instagram by your name? Or,
Yes.
Okay, great. Perfect. Well, make sure you subscribe to her page, One Eye Jacks, and follow her on social media. Thank you so much, Emilie. I really appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule to do this.
For a long time, right?
Asking for a long time and then trying to figure out with the time change and all that, because I don't know how it is, but you've already jumped back an hour and we don't jump back for another week. So
It's 8 o'clock now here. So.
Yeah. So hang on a second. Alice, where can people find you online?
Oh, you know, just the regular old school stuff. Go to my website. If you want to contact me, just send me email. My website is alicelynch.net. And that's pretty much it. And also, I think in about a week, I will announce the upcoming broadcast or podcast, however you want to call it, here on YouTube and Google, and I will announce it on my Twitter, and my Twitter is @thisAliceLynch. That's it. Thank you.
And last word, you have Facebook or not?
I don't like Facebook. No, you can find me and contact me always via email on my website, which is again alicelynch.net. You can find all of it on my website.
I know a lot of people don't like Facebook, but because of Facebook, I met a lot of wonderful people, and that's how we stay connected. The Twin Peaks fan base, we stay connected through Facebook. So
yeah, Facebook isn't good to me and to anybody. So we all know it. We all know all about it, and that's the main reason. So this is why I have my own website.
Yeah, but I don't care about the negativity about Facebook.
It's not about any negativity. It's about facts. I don't like anybody reading my messages. That's it. And so, if you want to contact me, send me email.
Okay.
and that's fine.
Because of Facebook, that's why I went to the US, and I met all these amazing people from all over the world. So see it as a
that's great, like I said, but you know, it doesn't depend on Facebook. There was a world before Facebook and people could meet as well, so I mean, just the type of communication. So I don't use Facebook for communication. That's it. There is a fan page of my pictures.
In contact with the German people. I know a lot of German people that love Twin Peaks, so I could bring you in contact.
I've been, I think, 11 years on Facebook, and I haven't met a single person from Germany who likes Twin Peaks.
Send me a message. I know a lot of.
I gave up.
Oh, come on.
Never give up,
I think I met all of the people, the Twin Peaks related, I met on Twitter and YouTube, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm on Twitter too, so not very active, but yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll send each other. Okay.
Yeah. So, Emilie, seriously, feel free to contact me afterwards. So I would like you to join the upcoming podcast.
Great. Okay, good.
Well, and thank you everybody for tuning in and watching us on this Sunday morning, at least where I am. I really appreciate all your support, your kindness, your likes. Make sure to like this video, share the videos, share the podcast, let people know about it. Mark Frost's book comes out in a few days. Anxious to talk about it, and hopefully we'll be getting an announcement as to what Showtime has in the near future in the next coming week. So in the meantime, stay tuned, and we will see you soon. Take care. Bye.
Bye.